have heard many times how my friends told me that their parents, especially their fathers, wanted to have a son and a daughter was born. And after the birth, their relationship was not very smooth. In my family, the same situation happened, but I was not going to put up with it, and so I decided to take it into my own hands and fix everything. Do you want to hear how it happened? Then look further into my story. Hello everyone, my name is Emily, and as I said, in our family, my father madly wanted to have a son. Then I was born. From the very first moment my mother got pregnant with me, my father believed that they would have an heir. He told his mother about it more than once. He came up with a name for the boy, planned out his life, where he would study, who he would become in the future, and decided to invest all his ambitions in the child. When my mother found out that she was pregnant with a daughter, she did not tell my father about it. She thought maybe the doctors were wrong, or maybe she just didn't want to upset him. And then the day of childbirth came, and my father, waiting in the corridor, was told, "Congratulations, you have a daughter." He didn't believe it right away. He said that they probably got something mixed up. But the doctor said that everything was fine. A healthy girl was born. Does it really matter what gender the child is? You have a healthy daughter. That's what's important. The midwife told Dad. He barely smiled and said nothing. My mother told me that when she was released from the hospital, he picked us up in a bad mood and didn't even look at me, wrapped in a pink blanket. My mother was depressed, as if she felt responsible for not pleasing my father. You can understand him, because father was a military man. His father had raised him rather harshly, always insisting that only boys were born to them from generation to generation. Imagine what it was like for Dad to find out that he became the father of a girl. As the years went by, my dad grew further and further away from my mom, and he hardly ever came near me. I don't remember him ever playing with me, picking me up, or putting me to bed. Because I was too young and didn't understand anything, I tried to approach him, hug him, kiss him, but he wouldn't let me. No, he didn't hit me or hurt me. He was just a stranger. It was like living with someone else's family. My mother made a firm decision to make another attempt and give birth to a boy. She consulted with astrologers, went to doctors, tried to learn how to make sure that she would give birth to a boy. But in the end, they couldn't get pregnant at all. This made my father even more depressed, and then he stopped bringing it up. My mother thought that he would leave us, but he didn't leave and found an easier way. He disappeared all the time to work. Once, at school, there was a parent-teacher meeting, and all the kids invited their dads to the school to talk about them and introduce them to us. I told my dad about it, but he said he didn't have time. I was very upset, and still, my mother persuaded him to come. I thought it would be really cool, that he would find out about my progress in school and be proud of me, but it turned out the other way around. Dad wasn't exactly happy. As he listened to the other sons playing football with their fathers, doing manly things, his mood sank even more. In the end, he got up right before it was my turn and left. I started crying, and the teacher didn't understand what was happening. In general, I was allowed to go home a little earlier. I came home and heard a conversation between my parents. They were fighting. My mother said that he was wrong, that I was still his daughter and he should at least show me love sometimes. But Dad was adamant. "I'm not going to play with dolls. I wanted to play games with my son, raise a real scout. I wanted to go camping with him and make him happy that he became the best in shooting. What do I have? A bunch of dolls?" he said in response. I don't deny that his words stung me to my core. I was so upset that I went quietly into my room and did not leave it all evening. And no matter how much my mother tried to calm me down, I didn't want to listen to her. An hour later, my father left for a business trip. He said that the trip was urgent. He didn't even say goodbye to me. At that moment, I suddenly wanted to show him what I was worth, that I was no worse than the boys, even better. Just a couple of days earlier, I had read an ad about recruiting scouts and a competition held by our school. I decided to enroll in it. You're right, I didn't know what I was doing, but I set a goal and I had to go for it. The next day, I went to school and put myself on the list. I was then written to and invited to an interview. The chief scout captain of our team was interested to see the only girl who decided to join their ranks. I didn't tell my mother about it. I decided to keep it a secret for now. I was accepted out of interest, so a new hobby appeared in my life. I came to exercise classes 4 times a week after school. As soon as I entered the hall, I was looked at as if I were a ghost. The boys made fun of me, pulled my hair, mocked me, and I was terribly uncomfortable, but I remembered my goal, so I didn't let myself give up. Every training session, I started with a 3-kilometer run, then push-ups, squats. I had a double load due to the fact that I am a beginner, and the competition was coming very soon. At first, my whole body ached. I thought, oh, screw it. But my stubborn nature didn't allow me to just give up, so I gritted my teeth and worked even harder. I was taught to swim, dive, hold my breath underwater. I was able to make a fire with my bare hands with 2 sticks in 5 minutes. I learned to hunt fish. I learned several difficult rules for survival in the wild. I learned to shoot a bow, a gun, and reload myself. And within a month, I had the best results among all the boys in my team. Finally, our captain admitted that I was his best scout of all, because I was the only one with a real masculine spirit. Over time, the taunts turned into respect, and everyone did nothing but talk to me, the only girl. And this gave me even more motivation. The competition was coming up, but I was already ready. A couple of days before my father came back from his business trip, I told him that I was inviting him to watch the competition, and he said that he would have nothing to do there. I didn't want to tell him I'd signed up to be a scout, but I wanted him to see it for himself. Yet he refused to come. Frustrated, I arrived on the long-awaited day alone, my eyes still searching for him in the crowd, but he wasn't there. Surprisingly, the competition turned out to be quite simple. At least, it seemed like that to me. I passed all the tests, and I was not given any indulgences as a girl. It lasted for almost half a day, and at the end, when everyone was exhausted, archery and rifle shooting began. I tried to breathe evenly, pulled the bowstring, and fired straight at the target. We won the penultimate test, and then the gunfire started. I remembered everything I'd been taught, got to my feet with confidence, stretched out my arms, took aim, and pulled the trigger. 5 clear shots, and I hit the same target several times in a row. Victory! We won! The boys ran up to me. They grabbed me in their arms and carried me across the stadium, shouting my name loudly. At that moment, more than anything, I wanted my father to see everything. When we took the trophy, we were congratulated and we went to disperse. Then my mother came up to me. "Oh, Mom, I'm sorry I didn't tell you," I started, but she just hugged me tighter, smiled, and said that everything would be fine and that she was proud of me. Tears welled up in my eyes, and I stopped holding back. "He will never believe in me because I tried for him. I did it all. Why am I worse than a boy, Mom? I just want him to love me," I told her and hugged her tighter. "The only thing you're unlucky about is that you have a bad father," said a voice from behind. Dad was standing there. It turns out that he still came to see and saw my victory with me. For the first time in my life, I saw guilt in his eyes, and he apologized and said he didn't deserve a daughter like me. Tell me, did you guys like my story? Write your opinion about it in the comments below the video. Do not forget to like it, share the video with your friends, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel.